Hey everybody, what's happening? Neil back once again with another film review for you. And today I'm going to be taking a look at Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, which just came out. So, because I'm feeling like crap today, as you can probably tell from the sound of my voice, and also because the movie just came out and I was able to see it yesterday, I thought I would do a non spoiler review for once. So, yeah, no spoilers today. So, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny is the long awaited fifth film in the franchise and the final one. It is it is directed by James Mangold, and it's the first one not directed by Steven Spielberg, although Spielberg and George Lucas are credited as executive producers, of course. Lucas being the creator of Indy. And you know what? This one is a fun, if predictable, escapist piece of entertainment. Pretty good time at the movies. And it's not too bad. It's not anywhere near as frustrating as the last one, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. So this one, yeah, much better than that. Doesn't really hold a candle to Raiders or Last Crusade. No, certainly not. But still good. Still good. It stars one of the great Hollywood actors of all time, Harrison Ford, Phoebe Waller-Bridge, who plays a very charming character here, and Mads Mikkelsen as your main antagonist. So I'm going to talk very briefly about the story, because again, no spoilers, so it should make the video a lot shorter. The story begins near the end of World War II, I think it's 1944, and we get a de-aged Harrison Ford, who is, again, battling the hated Nazis. And there's this train sequence where they're on top of the train, and it's, moving really fast and about to crash and everything, and it's a lot of fun, fun, fast entertainment, even though we've seen it before in other action films. So Indy and his archaeologist buddy, Basil, they find this artifact, which is half of this powerful device, this MacGuffin, that can actually allow time travel. And Mads Mikkelsen, he plays this Nazi called Jürgen Voller, and he wants it and appears to have the drop on them, but he then gets smacked in the face on top of the train and gets knocked off the train and is presumed killed. As Indy and Basil, they get away with half of this device. But unbeknownst to them, of course, Voller survived. Fast forward to 1969, and we get Phoebe Waller-Bridge playing Helena, Indy's goddaughter, so Basil's daughter. She tries to sell this artifact, this half of this device that Indy helps her uncover once again. However, Indy interrupts the auction, and then we see Voller again, and there's this unfortunate reunion between Indy and Voller, and he says, are you still a Nazi, and there's some terrific action here. There's a wonderful chase scene in Tangier involving these tiny little cars going through these slim little alleyways and everything, and it's very cool. I really, really enjoyed that. And they certainly pick up other allies along the way. There's this young man, Teddy, who is like this, basically, like a thief or whatever, and they pick him up along the way. And there's another ally, too, that I won't say who the actor is, but when they do the deep sea diving part of it is where you'll recognize this actor. So that's another ally. Very cool to see Indy having, more protagonists in this film as well. So the bad guys, they capture the kid, which lures Indy and Helena out, and then they wind up letting the kid go, but they wind up capturing Indy. All of these things happen. It all kind of accumulates in what you would predict to happen, which is Voller's obsession with time travel and restoring Nazi Germany to its glory, because he blames Hitler for the loss of the war. It's like, Germany didn't lose the war, Hitler did. Hitler gave up, he surrendered, sort of thing. He killed himself. So Voller is, still a believer in the Nazi party, of course, All the best indie movies are about Nazis, right? Or they involve them anyway. Yeah, for sure. So, yeah, it's kind of the same old thing. I won't spoil the ending, of course. All the stuff that happens at the end is really nice. And kind of charming as well, the very end. But I won't say what happens. Maybe I will do a spoiler review later, but for now I'll just stop the story there. So let's talk about this movie in terms of the good and the bad. The early stuff, the de-aged Ford, the refaced CGI stuff, it actually looks really good. And there's a couple of scenes where, a couple of reactions where he's kind of, not as convincing, in terms of the younger Ford, but it is still him, of course. So that works for the most part. I was impressed with that. My one question is, how come Indy didn't cough when they were in the crypt? Because him and Helena, they're both in the crypt, and he's like, "Oh, there's toxic methane, gas. Don't breathe." And he's not choking or coughing at all. So I didn't really get that. I was like, huh? Like, she's choking and coughing, but he's not. Okay. Also, the kid is able to kind of like pick up how to fly a plane pretty quickly. I thought that was a bit, okay, unrealistic. But then again, I guess that's Indiana Jones, unrealistic, fantastical things happening within our reality. It was always a pleasure, of course, to see Sallah, John Rhys Davies, again in the movie. They didn't really need him too much, other than him to be very encouraging at the start. And, to say, "Give him hell, Indiana Jones." And, I like that. I like the way he said that. But I don't know. He wasn't that useful. It was just nice to see him, So that's cool. But again, I mean, this movie and all Indiana Jones movies, they're always fun, escapist entertainment that is, action, adventure, fantasy set in our reality, but still lots of impossible things, will happen. So that's one thing that kind of confuses people, I think, about the Indiana Jones movies sometimes. It's like, well, that could never happen. Well, yeah, it's Indiana Jones. It's a fantasy. Okay. It's like, it's not Star Wars fantasy or Lord of the Rings fantasy, but it is still fantasy. It's just set in our realistic environment. So, something I have to kind of explain. The film looks beautiful. It sounds great. The sound effects are as awesome as you'd expect. The visual effects are wonderful. The music, of course, the original score, John Williams, once again. Yeah. Can't get any better than John Williams, of course, especially for one of these movies. So, yeah, I mean, in the end, it was a satisfactory experience. It was just a little bit predictable, and just a couple of questions, like I said, about the kid and about the coughing and the methane gas, and I didn't get that, but overall, it was a lot of fun. They really did a lot of, traveling, from different places, from different countries, back and forth, and we get just beautiful visuals of these wonderful places that they go to. So again, very much like a James Bond movie, very much like, actually it's very much like Star Trek VI, which was good, but nowhere near as good as, Wrath of Khan or Voyage Home, let's say, but it was still really good, and I think a part of the reason why people thought it was really good was because number 5 wasn't very good. So, with Indiana Jones, it's number 4 that wasn't very good, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, which wasn't that bad, but it did have its issues. This movie kind of makes up for that in some small ways. It's like, yeah, this is much better than Crystal Skull. So, yeah. I do recommend Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. I'm going to give it a 7.5 out of 10. Alright, guys, that's all for me. This is Sick Neil, losing his voice, starting to sound like Shaggy. Oh my god, zoinks! Until next time, I'll be looking to review the next movie, which will be Asteroid City, I hope. But until then, hope you all take care of yourselves. Until next time, peace.